Blind boys don't lie.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey kids, welcome to Grumpy Nostalgia, the Second Look Cinema podcast, the show where we go back to the blockbuster new release wall of our memory, grab a copy off its shelf, we pop it in our VCR, and we see what time has done to it. I'm Justin, that's Mike.
Thou shalt not kill, Justin. Do you know that?
Oh boy. And together, we're here to help you navigate all the landmines littered down memory lane. And Mike, you hit me with a landmine right away.
There you go. Just
boy.
Remember that.
Okay.
You might have heard that a few times in this movie. Possibly.
Maybe a few. Okay, well, let's get to that. It's too good to... All right, so, Mike, it's the Halloween season once again.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah, we're going to scale it back a little bit this year. I think last year, Mike, we overdid it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I kind of went crazy at the at-home store and got a little too much inflatables. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
you mean our movies? Our movie
That
selections
too,
were a
that
little...
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the joy of having some listeners come in and do some sitting in with us for some of those shows. When we went, we did 4 shows in October last year, and they were a lot of fun. But it was a logistical nightmare, Mike, trying to get like 7 people's schedules to coincide with each other and arrange all that. It was worth it, but we just didn't have it on bandwidth to kind of pull that off this year, and I think we're going to try to scale it back a little. So
We'll simplify the scares this month.
yeah, so talking of simplified, let's talk about one of our most favorited movies of our generation here, Mike.
Yeah.
This is going to be The Lost Boys from
Right.
1987, Mike.
There you go. The wicked combination of Donner and Schumacher.
Yeah, classified as a comedy horror, Mike. And I think already we're in deep trouble. But let's just kind of jump right in and see if we can offend some people's sense of taste right away. So this was directed by Joel Schumacher, of course, Mike. He did 37 movies total. He did the 2 bad Batmans. He did the number 23 with Jim Carrey, who he directed in one of those Batmans. Of course, he did DC Cab. We talked about that a little bit last week, Mike. He was a fashion designer by trade, and he didn't really get into directing movies until he was like in his early 30s, Mike.
That explains Corey Haim's wardrobe choices in this movie.
We got to talk about the wardrobe a little bit. That was written by a woman named Jan Fisher, who wrote her writing credit here, Mike, is one episode of The Golden Girls.
Was it the one with the cheesecake in the kitchen?
No, since you're an auteur, Mike, I thought this was the episode called Diamonds in the Rough. This is the one, of course, where Blanche is bothered by her boyfriend's lack of polish and social graces. I'm like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, you know that one. That was her writing credit. James Jeremias was the next writer. He was a former grip, Mike.
Of course.
For those unfamiliar with those terms, that's basically a mechanic. This is his only screenplay.
Maybe this got him promoted to a gaffer.
Maybe. God bless you. And then the other, I guess, who the adult in the room would have been a guy named Jeffrey Boehm, who was a screenwriter for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, The Dead Zone, and Inner Space. So he had some writing credits to his repertoire there. Mike, those 3 put this out. They had a budget of only $8.5 million, and it was released July 31st, 1987.
July release. Okay.
Yeah, another seasonal. It's a vampire movie, Mike, and Hollywood loves that trope. And we'll talk about the vampire movies that we've seen in Hollywood here and some of the trends that we like to discuss and things we find that are cute and charming about how they kind of conveniently swap the rules around. I think what really is a lasting impression for a lot of fans of this movie, of course, Mike, is the cast. So why don't you hit us up with the cast here, buddy?
Oh, man. This movie begins and ends with the 2 Coreys, of course. Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. 2, they paths kind of crossed there for a few movies in the late 80s, early 90s, and, became an indelible fixture for at least our generation at that time. And Then they had kind of I don't know, they had similar child actor kind of features in a way. Corey Haim
Yeah.
unfortunately passed away from I think pneumonia about 15 years ago or so,
Yeah.
from what I can remember. Corey Feldman, he had that drama with Michael Jackson where some things might have happened. They could have happened. Who knows?
Alleged. Yeah.
Alleged, yeah.
I think what's way more traumatic than any of that was that guitar solo he had.
Oh yeah. But I mean, we saw him in Stand By Me, and he was a good child actor, but he never really, in Goonies, of course, he never said die. But yeah, he's transformed himself into a what you want to call a guitar player, which is kind of weird. He's on his current tour called Loserville or something like that, and the big debate is whether he really is playing his guitar licks. Some people say it's really good. If you actually hear him play without without the aid of possibly some computers, he's terrible. So yeah, you be the judge, kind of like the Michael Jackson history. That you judge for yourself. Maybe you can catch a video of him playing his axe and see how good he really is.
Too easy. Not going to even go there.
There you go. Who else is in the cast? We have a pairing from Solar Babies, and I don't think neither one of these actors and actress really recovered from that movie. Jason Patrick and Jamie Gertz, of course, and Jamie Gertz, she did appear in Twister, so that was good.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Jason Patrick, I loved him in Sleepers, and there was another movie, Narc. And
great movie, yeah.
Very underrated movies. And that was his problem. I think he's been in a lot of like kind of grade B movies, And I don't understand. Like I said, I'll blame Solar Babies. You had Diane Wiest who was in this. She's I think the only Oscar winner in this movie for Hannah and Her Sisters, I think. And
right,
she was in Practical Magic. Another great horror movie.
Horrifying Halloween.
It is,
yes.
Edward Herrmann, who's one of my favorite History Channel hosts, and it's one of his rare movies. And he was in a couple of good Disney comedies. But yeah, he plays the evil Max, the head vampire in this one. And spoilers. Bernard Hughes, who we know as the Guardian in Tron, appears as the wacky grandpa who has a house full of taxidermy. He's just there for comedy, guys. That's what he does. And then you have the Lost Boys himself, who's led by Kiefer Sutherland, who also was in Stand By Me with Corey Feldman. And he was a bully in this movie, and he's a bully in that movie, And one of the Lost Boys I want to mention was Alex Winter, William S. Preston himself.
Yeah.
And future director of some movies. But yeah, there you go. That's pretty much a cast.
All right, thank you, Mike. So we talked about the two Corys. This was the first installment. This was the first marriage of those two mega talents together that would take us through the next 20 years of film. This movie is screened every year outside at the Santa Cruz Boardwalk where it was shot, which I think is kind of cool.
That is neat.
It was just a quick 21-day shoot. One of the biggest takeaways for this movie, of course, Mike, is the guy named Timothy Capello. You want to guess who Timothy Capello is, Mike?
No, I do not.
This is the oily sax player.
Oh, I thought that was Richie Zito.
No, he...
Okay. Yeah, I didn't... That guy, the I Still Believe song or whatever.
Yeah, that song is I Still Believe is actually done by a band called The Call, which is a great band. But he's lip syncing to it. We'll talk about that scene in some detail as we go.
Corey saxophonist, yes.
Corey Feldman was actually fired on this movie a couple times for drug use, but
oh wow,
Schumacher had a soft spot for him and got him his job back the next day. Jim Carrey was originally cast to play David, that role played by Kiefer Sutherland here.
Oh, but I guess Love at First Bite kind of ruined it for him, huh?
Yeah, yes, that's right. I forgot about that horrible vampire movie. And of course, my favorite little trivia here is actor Fred Gwynn, Mike, was supposed to play the role of Max. But I guess he felt he couldn't go down that road, Mike.
Yeah. So only one Universal movie monster, I guess.
Yeah, that's correct. So we mentioned this came out in 1997 when me and Mike were just learning how to drive. Some other things going on in the
You might
theaters
want to
that
say we got a license to drive.
we had. Well done, well played, sir. Chef's
There you go.
kiss, Mike. In July of 1987, in theaters you had the movie Jaws 4. I don't know enough to say
boy.
about that. The movie RoboCop, which is another movie we covered on the podcast, and of course Superman 4, Mike, and Quest for Peace.
It's not a good year for the fours, I guess.
Yeah, blessing the world with the villain Nuclear Man. So, this is the 10th time we've talked about that movie.
The hair on that guy, just those golden locks, man.
Wonderfully coiffed, yes. Put the fear of daylights in everyone. This came out on the 31st, as we mentioned, along with the movie Ghoulies and The Living Daylights, Mike.
Oh, cool.
The weekend release.
Ghoulies.
The movie Monster Squad came out the next weekend. Confirming the fact that Wolfman does in fact have nards, Mike, which put everybody's mind at ease.
Wolfman's got nards!
It was a good year for movies. The number one movie that year, of course, was Beverly Hills Cop. We had Platoon, number 2, Fatal Attraction, The Untouchables, 3 Men and a Baby, and then The Lost Boys didn't come in until about number 33 that year, Mike. Not a big commercial hit. And if anybody's curious, The Last Emperor won Best Picture that year. We always love to talk, whenever we talk about the 80s, Mike, we always like to talk about the music scene just to help with the nostalgia part of our show. On the top 40 pop chart, the week this movie came out, you had Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For by some band called U2. I thought they just made commercials for Apple now, but this was the Joshua Tree tour. And what was interesting about this, I thought, Mike, is that for several stops during this tour, they clandestinely played some secret shows disguised as country musicians. And their band was the Dalton Brothers, Mike, and they would play local dives.
Oh, wow.
Country songs. So you saw the Dalton Brothers back in 1987. That was U2.
That's crazy.
Cool, right?
Yeah, they were cool at one point. They
were very, very cool. This year that Dan Rather threw a tantrum on air. He was angry that the CBS had delayed the Sunday news. The U.S. Open ran a little long, and rather than suffer that, he just he quit and walked off stage and left CBS with some national dead air for 6 minutes, which I thought was fantastic.
That's great.
Ultimate professional. Yeah.
Where's the frequency now, Kenneth?
Yeah, Kenneth, where are you now, asshole? This year, this was interesting, Mike. In New York City, there was a documented 95 squirrel bites in 1987. Not to be outdone, there was a documented 1,600 human bites that year, Mike. So I don't know why I thought about that.
And half of those were Alex Winter and Kiefer Sutherland.
Exactly. We were all reading The Tommyknockers by Stephen King. This is the year 93,000 insane hog collars populated Detroit's Silverdome for WrestleMania 3, Mike. And you recall that's the WrestleMania where Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant. And I think ended his career. I think that's how Andre ended his... They always go out on their back. That's the motto in wrestling. Your last match, you go out on your back, and he certainly did.
Yeah, according to the Vince McMahon documentary, too.
That's a good one. We need to talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
All right, so talk about going out on our back. Mike, I think we've kind of covered 1987. We're always anxious to talk about vampire movies on the show, so what do you say we get started?
Let's do it.
All right, Mike, hit the button. So our movie casually opens up with a recently divorced Diane Wiest moving her 2 young sons, Max and Michael. Or Sam and Michael?
Michael! Yeah,
Michael and Sam. She's driving them to Santa Clara, the murder capital of the world, Mike.
Santa Carla. I love how they slightly changed it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why they didn't just go for a real location, but I guess if you're the murder capital of the world, you want to go change it just to one letter. There you go, Santa Carla.
I'm sure the cities of Tijuana and St. Louis, Missouri, are actually the real murder capitals of the world, but that might have taken some of the polish off this movie if they were sitting there. I'm thinking. So on their way to their house, they stop at the boardwalk and they meet some locals. Diane meets a video clerk named Max who owns a video store. It got me nostalgic about working in a video store, Mike, just seeing all the hustle and bustle of the video shop and how exciting it was to go in there and get a movie.
And the big cardboard stand-up of Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Exactly. Yeah. So she goes there and asks for a job and actually gets a date out of the whole thing. So there you go. I like how Corey Haim's wardrobe here is established. He's got, I don't even know what you want to call it. I think he had white pants, a pink floral shirt, unbuttoned. Yeah. Of course, the puffy hair. He had the Paul Reiser puffy hair, Mike.
He did. In spades, man.
Yeah, the Paul Reiser starter kit.
And he wore what looked like pajamas later on, but out in public, and it's just all these just fancy paisley and designs and patterns. It's like, kid, what?
Yeah,
what? What's going on here?
Yeah,
and he's supposed to be a comic book nerd, which I was like, didn't quite fit with me.
No, they kind of forgot how all that worked.
Yeah.
So the boys meet some locals at the pier, including Jamie Gertz. Who is pretty much a 90s icon, if you think about it, like in hindsight. They meet the Frog Brothers, Edgar and Allan, of course, Mike, an homage to Edgar Allan Poe. Very clever there. They meet some 1980s type no good nicks punks, led by Kiefer Sutherland there. You can tell right away, they're the vampires. Since they're wearing leather dusters in the middle of the beach. They go to a little party that night, a little beach party where there's a giant band playing, and then of course it's a fake band. It's our buddy, the oily sax guy, singing the call. He's the lead singer and the main saxophone player. It's a rare combination.
He's very oiled up too. He was oiled up like a WrestleMania 3 wrestler.
Yeah, so I love that song, but it was about this time in the movie where I thought, you know what, I don't think I'm really going to enjoy this, because that scene at night. I didn't do anything like that when I was a teenager, but they were real. Nobody dances like they did in the '80s, Mike. And I realized that. I think we're in trouble here.
Yeah, that was a big red flag. It opened so well too with the cover "People Are Strange" from Echo and the Bunnymen and all.
Great soundtrack, all in all.
Townspeople, and it really gets you into the movie. And then you get to see Bernard Hughes' weird house, and you get to introduce the characters. But then, like I said, the shirtless saxophonist guy was like, whoa, wait a second, what have we just descended into,
There's probably a reality where that was cool at one point, but that was a long time ago, Mike, and I know, let's move on. Jason Patrick is pursuing Gertz. Jamie Gertz has got a big crush on her, and it's revealed she's in with the vampires, the bad guys here, Mike, led by David, all played by Kiefer Sutherland. They start hanging out together. The family moves in with the only redemption for this movie for me personally was I got to talk about Bernard Hughes again. Yeah, he plays the grandpa. They move into his house, and he's got an odd assortment of
taxidermy animals.
He's got that's convenient because there's a lot of sharp horns and steaks and stuff like that. So I guess that's convenient for the story as we go. So they start hanging around doing cool 80s California kid vampire stuff. Michael gets turned here. He drinks some what he thinks is wine at their little subterranean hangout, and he starts to feel the effects of early vampirism, Mike. And Corey Haim, because he's a comic book nerd, starts to suspect that something's up with his brother, and he recruits the Frog Brothers, who are the comic book shop kids. And they convince him that he has in fact turned because he used their comic books as research. As ironclad support of that fact. I like the line here. He says, "Kill your brother, you'll feel better."
Yeah. For its credit, this movie has some great one-liners.
The Frog Brothers are kind of neat element of this, but so the second act is just about Jason Patrick trying to struggle with this, living on both sides of the afterlife. He's only half turned, Mike, and turns out that Jamie Gertz loves him too much to become a vampire, so she starts to protect him from Kiefer Sutherland. They start, causing their mom a lot of trouble, with their shenanigans and hijinks with, the vampires coming over the house and all that good stuff. And so they make this big play with the Frog Brothers with Corey Haim that they're going to go and find their secret lair and kill him, Mike. And you get a lot of the Cry Little Sister song. I don't know how many times this thing was queued up by artist Gerard McMahon, Mike. And McMahon, do I hate him? Awful. I hate this song so much. But I'm not going to let that stop me from our review here. So let's just keep going. All right, so there's this big finale, this big set piece at the end where the Frog Brothers go in and they stake poor little William Preston.
Yeah.
A lot of blood starts flying.
It's not very excellent.
Yeah, the vampires come back to their house, and there's a series of 80s action deaths here. They fill up their squirt guns with holy water, their super soakers with holy water. They convince one of the vampires just to get into a bath full of holy water and garlic. One gets killed by stereo. Mike, he's
great line.
The stereo. Yeah.
Death by stereo.
Stereo. Yeah. But that culminates in this big showdown where they feel they've got to kill the head vampire, as Laura suggests. So they do their best to take out David.
You'd all be dead now if it wasn't my David.
Jason Patrick actually does. He impales him on what's a conveniently placed a deer antler. But to their dismay, Mike,
he didn't turn back to normal.
Nothing happened. And it's, so they feel that the head vampire still has to be out there, right? And Mike, it's always the person you last suspect, right?
That's right.
It turns out that Max, the video store clerk and Diane Weiss's boyfriend, is the main vampire, and he comes in to exact revenge for his little vampire lost boys getting killed. And as he's about ready to lay waste to the entire family, of course, that's when Bernard Hughes conveniently and unprompted crashes his truck that's got a bunch of loaded tent pole stakes in the cab, and they go flying and conveniently impale Max.
Now, to their credit, they did show a scene of him making a new fence with giant wooden stakes, so they prepared you for this final visual, sort of.
Or they telegraph the hell out of their ending.
Yeah.
That's another way to say that. But then they fade to black, and there's some great NXS music, and that's your 90s credits, and that's your movie, guys. And holy cow. That's all I'm going to say about it. Yeah. So, okay, so I'm going to try to be as polite as I can, because I have a lot of friends that do really enjoy this movie, and I certainly don't want to offend anybody's tastes. We'll get to that here in a minute. So let's just talk about awards and accolades real quick, and then we can get to how we felt about it. So this had a $5.2 million opening. Not too terrible. Again, back in those days, they didn't have big releases. Ended up doing a $32 million domestic release, and it made another $188,000 in a small UK release, Mike. It had a 2020 re-release in New Zealand. Great timing there. Hey, COVID's taken over. Let's go see The Lost Boys in New Zealand. Made about $1,100 there. Didn't win any major awards short of a couple nominations for some Saturn Awards. Best Horror Film. It won, beating out such also rans as Evil Dead 2, Hellraiser, Pumpkinhead, Near Dark, and Nightmare on Elm Street 3. So
no, not Near Dark.
Yeah, great movie. Far better vampire movie, in my opinion. So, Mike, I think I probably tipped my hand and my feelings on this movie. Why don't we run through our grumpy meter? This is a section of the podcast where me and Mike go back and assess the movies we watched as younger men, with less cynical behavior and more likely to like these movies. Then we kind of review them again as grumpy old jerks to see if they stand up to our shifted frame of reference. So, Mike, why don't you start us off? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to flip the script. Let's. I want to hear your opinion, because I'm very curious now.
Okay.
Let's let you go first.
Fair enough. All right. Well, in 1987, I thought this movie was the shit. I thought it was great. And in 2024, I thought this movie was shit. It's quite simple. Again, I think it's the curse of pretentiousness that came across me. You can't be pretentious in a horror comedy. And they were trying to do a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of playful scares. They were trying to be outright scary. But just, I don't know. This is probably an unpopular opinion, but this is just one of the banes of this show, I think, is sometimes movies we enjoy don't survive the cut. And this is one of the ones that just fit that role for me. Me and my wife put this on Saturday night. We had popcorn on the stove. We were all excited to watch this. I looked over in about 15 minutes. She was gone. she was just fast asleep. My dogs fell asleep, and I'm sitting there watching this by myself, and it just seemed, I don't know. It was probably really good in 1987. It was cool. It was hip. It was all that kind of stuff. But I'm far too cynical and far too grumpy at this age. I've seen a lot of better horror films come since this. I don't think this holds up. Maybe in its own vacuum, as a snapshot of time, it was pretty good. But this is one of the ones that took the biggest hit for me in terms of like all the movies we've covered. One that just really just did a full 180 for me. I was relatively a big fan of this, but I had seen it probably in 25, 30 years, Mike. Yeah. I thought I was going to enjoy this, but it just did not hit home. I just wanted it to be over. I wanted the guys to quit being so cool or trying to be so cool. But again, I feel bad. I honestly feel bad that I did not enjoy this, and my horrible opinion is what it is at this moment. But again, it's just one of those things that I don't have room for things like this on my hard drive anymore. And unfortunately, this is just one that just fell out through attrition. So not a fan this time, Mike, unfortunately.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I had seen this movie probably about 30, when it first came out, obviously at the theater. And then I saw it at like a Halloween feature thing. They had a re-release of it probably about 10 years ago. And this was shown back to back with Fright Night, and two kind of classic vampire comedy movies. Whereas I like Fright Night, Lost Boys was okay. I don't have as bad a feeling about it, watching it again as you did. I liked it less this time than I did 10 years ago. Yeah. The one thing I would, agree with you the most on is not necessarily pretentiousness, but there's too much they tried to throw at you, and then it's a short movie. It's not even an hour and 40 minutes, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and which is good and bad. I feel like it was there's actually a line where Corey Haim says, "No TV means no MTV," and this movie was made for the MTV generation. It's kind of the first movie I can think of that was like for short attention spans. It's almost like, okay, this scene, let's go to this scene, let's go to this scene. I mean, it was just too.
Yeah, that's Schumacher. Yeah, it's one of his.
It's Schumacher, but it's also, like I say, it had that vibe of like almost like a music video.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And they're not so much scenes that connect; they're just scenes. But yeah, like I said, the one thing I did like about it, the opening, a couple of songs in there, terrible. One or two are okay. Like Echo and the Bunnymen. They can do a good movie soundtrack.
Yeah.
And then some of the lines they had, like "Death by Stereo," and the one where what made it for me, what I really love about this movie is the very last line in the movie that Barnard Hughes has, and it just ends. I mean, like it's a great ending. It's funny that the beginning and the ending are good, but everything in the middle is kind of just pretentious and maybe just almost too silly. Your mind starts wondering, like, God, if they're killing people every night at this rate, I mean, they got to get caught eventually. It's just there's the sense of realism and the sense of humor, and it just doesn't mix with me. I kind of tried to watch it like I watched The Sixth Sense for the second time. Wow. Right. Edward Herman, Mac's character, was the villain the whole time. And there are actually a couple scenes in the movie that make him look like he's scared of his lost boys, which, it's like, that doesn't quite fit. It didn't, if, on a rewatch, when you know that he's the bad guy, it doesn't quite fit. Even the only clever part was when he had to be actually invited into the house, and that was kind of cool. And the fact that they used the Peter Pan trope of the Lost Boys is really clever.
Okay.
In a horror movie.
Yeah.
But the premise couldn't carry it through. The fashions and some of the music just really dates it. And like I say, it's passable for me, but I have a lot of reservations about it. But it's enjoyable.
I think when two socially awkward teenagers are the biggest threat to your villain, I don't think your story is as tight as you probably needed to be. But
that's true. Yeah.
But okay. I don't want to get too angry with this movie because I don't feel it deserves it. It's probably more me than it is the movie's fault, and we're just going to leave it there. But it was still a good watch, and it's still something, for Halloween, we like to sit down and watch these kind of movies, especially going back in the old days and finding these movies that we love so much. So to that point, Mike, rather than do a list this week, I think I'm tired of doing a list, aren't you?
I couldn't think of, we could have done the best 3 movies that the Coreys have been in, but, we didn't want to make our audience suffer that one.
We found it difficult to be clever this week, so we're going to take the easy way out. This is courtesy of Mike James, guys. So, it was seconded by me. But we thought we'd do something a little more fun since it's the Halloween season, and everybody's going to be talking about Halloween movies for the next 30 days. We thought we'd take a look at some of the media outlets to see what movies they're posting as their favorite Halloween horror films. So we started with one of my favorite publications back in the day. So, Mike, let's talk about Empire Magazine's top 25 horror films.
Can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about, I think we'll make a game out of it here, at least, Mike. Let's see, out of these 25 films, how many we've seen start to finish. We'll get a point if we've seen it. Very simple. 0 if we haven't seen it all the way through. And I think for part 2 of our game, these are ranked in order, Mike. So for part 2 of our game, this will be for, special status.
Whoa!
Yeah, the person that has not seen the movie that's ranked the highest is our loser of the week.
Oh no! Okay.
Then we'll add a little spiciness to it.
I'm not gonna bury the lead here. I think you've probably seen more horror movies than I have. So
they get a little creative with what they call a horror film, Mike. So let's.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I think you have a running shot here. So. And I'm not as pretentious as I come across. I haven't seen that many movies. So, all right, so let's start with number 25, Mike. They've got here, this is from 2005. This is The Descent.
No, I have not seen that.
I have not seen that either. Partly because I'm put off. I've seen trailers for it, and I'm genuinely too scared to watch this movie. It's about it's all female cast. I think they go spelunking, right? And
yeah.
They get down to the bottom of the cave and they get trapped, and there's claustrophobia from just that. And then about an hour into the film, they start to see this little, secret race of monsters that they're down there with, and there's no lights. So I don't think I could do very well with that.
Yeah, full disclosure, I'm not a big fan of movies where people get picked off one by one.
Yeah,
I mean I know that hurts me for any kind of horror movie, but that
disqualifies about 95%.
I know, right?
We're off and running, buddy.
Yay!
All right, number 24 here is The Witch from 2015.
No, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, this was.
I know Escape from Witch Mountain.
This had Anya Taylor-Joy in it. It's I think like The Crucible meets The Omen. It's set in the early puritanical England, and this family gets banished because they're religious beliefs, and they get sent out to the woods, and they end up adjacent to a coven of witches in the forest. It is genuinely one of the most horrifying films I've seen in a long time. Within the first 20 minutes, you think, this is something I shouldn't be watching. I shouldn't be seeing this. This is really genuinely scary. But yeah, this is a great movie. I encourage everybody to watch this if they got the stomach for it. So that's a great one. All right, so I'm on the board, Mike.
All right.
All right, the next one is number 23, Danny Boyle's 28 Days Later from 2002.
Yes, I saw that.
Okay, I have seen that. This is the Rage zombie movie, which I thought was really clever. They shot most of this bear in England. They shot that very early in the morning, very guerrilla style, Mike. They didn't have to. Of course, London can't shut down, of course. So, but some of the filming here is just fantastic, and just a great movie. Number 22 is Night of the Living Dead.
The original,
George
yes,
Romero.
Yeah.
Seen that one. It's public domain. Anybody can watch this right now for free. It's a great movie. The next one is from 2017. This is Jordan Peele's Get Out.
Yeah, I've seen that one. I saw it on the plane.
Really?
Yeah.
I have not seen this one.
Oh, wow.
Much critical acclaim. Got some Oscar nominations, as I recall. But Jordan Peele has really found a niche in Hollywood. He's made a lot of movies similar to this. Just as clever. I have to get off the fence and actually watch one of these at some point. Number 20 is Suspiria from 1977, the Dario Argento cult classic.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I've always wanted to see it.
Again, it's Looks great. Looks beautiful. I've never seen it. I've always been a little bit put off by it just because of the subject matter and some of the visuals I saw from it. But again, it's going to have to be one of those I actually watched at some point here. Here's a good one, Mike, from 1974, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Hey, so I finally saw that
Oh,
one.
you seen that?
It's referenced in Lost Boys.
Yeah. If you didn't listen to our podcast this Saturday, we re-released this one as part of our homage to last year's Halloween spectacular. So you can check this out now. It's live on the internet. But again, we talked about the anguish that this put us in, and how wonderful filmmaking really comes through here on a shoestring budget, and how this just supersedes a lot of modern horror on 1/100th of its budget, really, Mike. So
No, it's amazing what they can do with just a little bit of money.
yeah, it's a lot of creativity. All right, number 18 on the list is The Omen from 1976.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the triumvirate of the three supernatural devil movies: The Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby, and The Omen in the 70s. I don't know how any kids got out of the 70s alive, Mike. But, all right, the next one on the list is Psycho from 1960.
Yes.
Still as good as it ever was. Even the sequel, Psycho 2, is not a bad film, Mike.
Yes, passable.
But the performance here by Tony Perkins just is phenomenal. And, yeah, it's almost nearly a perfect film, Mike. The next one is Ring from 1998, the Japanese version. Ring
Yes, I've seen both English and Japanese.
I have not seen the Japanese version. I probably should. I saw The Ring, which I didn't really care for, but I realized immediately that the original Japanese was probably a whole lot better. But there you go. Number 15 on the list, Mike, is The Blair Witch Project from 1999.
Yeah, I saw that because it came with all the publicity about how it was so scary, but it was
Yeah.
No, it just wasn't. It didn't do it.
Didn't
for
do
me.
it.
No,
Complete opposite effect on me. I was
really.
What was the first? It invented the found footage genre in Hollywood, and I thought for a good while that it was in fact a true story, right? So I went in doing a little research. There wasn't a whole lot of internet at the time, but you kind of piece it together, and I allowed myself to still grasp on the reality that it might be true. So I went into the theater seeing with that mindset, and just genuinely unnerved me.
Wow.
The scene when they're in the woods and they hear the kids laughing.
Yeah,
and,
pretty good.
that got me. And I have not watched this movie since that. And,
oh wow.
Yeah, I've again, it's one of those things that just hit a nerve.
I hadn't laughed that much since I saw The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. It was for me. It had the same energy. It was just like, this is funny. I don't know why. It just hit me.
You're a deeply disturbed individual.
Like I said, I cannot stand I can't stand a good slasher movie. But
All right, the next one here is number 14. This is Dawn of the Dead from 1978.
Have not seen that one.
Yes, you have. You've seen this.
Remember we watched this one at the mall? This is the one. Okay, this is one at the shopping mall. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen
we watched this at Dragon Con at 2 a.m. Remember?
Some of these of the dead things. I get a little confused about which one's which. I know.
Gotcha.
Obviously, the first one I know, but after that, it's like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We watched.
I didn't see the remake with Ving Rhames. This was the original.
Oh yeah, this is the original. Yeah.
Okay.
We watched this at 2 a.m. at Dragon Con in Atlanta. Back when we had stamina. Remember that? The next one on the list is number 13. It's Carrie from 1976.
Oh yeah. John Travolta alone.
John Travolta's. Yeah. And her dirty pillows. Don't forget her dirty pillows.
Oh gosh.
We just lost Piper Laurie, didn't we? She passed away.
That's right.
And directed by our last film's director, Brian De Palma.
That's right. Oh my
Scarface, no less. Yeah.
William Catt and a big fro.
Oh yeah. Betty Buckley caught one in the gut too. Remember that? The beam fell on her.
That was good. Good
stuff. Too bad. What's wrong with us? Number 12 on the list is An American Werewolf in London from 1981.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Genuinely one of the most. It's like macabre. That's like the perfect word for it. It's one of those like disturbing, darkly humorous, but not intending to be.
It's English.
Yeah.
What's great is this English kind of humor in a horror movie, and it works. It just is so, like you say, dark, but it's like dry. It's not over the top humor. It's just perfect.
Yeah. A year earlier, John Landis was directing the Blues Brothers, and then he went right from that to this. So there you go. Next one on the list is Rosemary's Baby from 1968.
I've never seen it.
You're kidding me.
Never seen it. Nope.
One of my favorites.
I know. You have a Mia Farrow.
Mia do. Absolutely. John Cassavetes is great in this too. He's the classic husband that's just, you just want to punch him in the face. He won't, there's no empathy whatsoever. He doesn't understand what she's going through at all. I noticed there's some sort of prequel to this on Netflix coming out. Don't know how I feel about that.
It's a prequel, of how the apartment building was bad
the young blonde with the curls from Ozark plays a young Manhattanite. Okay. I think she's one of the unfortunate victims prior to Mia Farrow. Meets this group of people prior to her. I'll probably watch it. Just other than do something constructive, I'll probably watch that movie when it comes out. Number 10 is The Wicker Man here. This is the original Mike, of course, from 1973, not the Nicolas Cage one.
Oh, darn, because I've seen half of that with Nicolas Cage project.
Yeah. I have not seen this one.
No, me neither.
Okay. Next one is Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984.
Yes.
Both yes on that. That we featured this month in our bonus episodes. We'll get to that here in the end, but Headbang and Mosh Pit helped us review this movie last year. The next one on the list, the other one we covered, Mike, of course, is Jaws.
This list is progressing well for me. I think it's.
Yeah.
I think all these movies make sense as far as they're finishing strong in this top 10.
You're going to finish strong here. There you go. Great movie. Probably a quintessential perfect movie, in my opinion. Number 7, of course, is The Exorcist.
Oh yes.
Have you seen this one?
Oh yeah, a couple of times. I was forced to watch as a kid. Of course.
I regret that when we were in DC, we didn't go over to Georgetown and find the steps.
Where the stairs
we probably should have done that. Yeah. Still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 6, another movie we did, Evil Dead 2.
Yes. Gosh.
We could talk about Bruce Campbell for an entire season if we wanted to.
See, it's funny. I just talked about how good this list was. Now it's like, wait, The Exorcist should be closer to number 1, but hey, I'm not going to quibble.
Hey, it's Empire Magazine, man.
I know.
We want to thank our friend Dr. K for reviewing this movie with us as well. This will be, again, another one that we featured this month. Number 5 is Scream, Wes Craven's unique take on the inside tongue-in-cheek view of self-referential horror movies, Mike.
Yeah, a very clever idea. It deserves to be up there for sure.
Why it needed 17 sequels, I'll never know.
Yeah, I know. There's another one coming out, I think, too, right?
Yeah.
Is there another Scream?
Yeah.
I can't keep up.
Oh, if this movie had just been left alone, I think it would have been so much more. Anyway, what do we know? Number 4 is The Thing from 1982.
Oh yes, I saw that on HBO, and I regretted it, man. That movie. That's my what was the movie you couldn't see anymore? Oh, that's my Blair Witch Project.
Is that your Blair Witch?
The Thing. It's the body horror movies just really get to me, man. That was a tough one. Wilford Brimley. Poor guy.
Was it the diabetes, Mike?
Yes, it was. I wish it was. It'd been a clean death.
All right. Well, here's where I fall on my sword, Mike. I have never seen this thing the whole way through. I've only seen bits. I've never seen the whole film.
I've seen the James Arnaz version too in the 50s.
Yeah,
but that was boring.
I cannot get my wife to watch this with me, so I don't know how I'm going to find time to watch this. But it's on the list.
There you go.
So there you go. So it looks like I'm going to win here. Next one's Halloween from 1978.
Yes.
Classic meme. That is our final Halloween movie that we watch every year. That's our big finale.
I can't wait to see what number 1 would be, though.
Yeah. Number 2 is Alien from 1979.
Oh, okay.
Again, another classic movie. And Mike, you have to know what the number 1 film is, right? Audience at home, what do you think? Is anyone even listening anymore? Who cares?
I don't know. It's not going very old movies. So I don't.
All right. How if I give you a year? Will that help?
Yeah, probably.
1980.
The Shining. Yeah.
There you go.
I was trying to think of another Hitchcock movie. They all, they went all the way back to Psycho. I figured they might rope in another one. So get my pun there. Like a lot of people have Vertigo or The Birds. Like a horror list. But I guess, I say, it was. I can't argue with The Shining being number one. It's just got to be up there. Yeah. I agree with Empire Magazine. You win this round.
There you go. What's interesting about this film, just a side note here, this was actually got a Razzie Award for Worst Director. It was not well received at all. It's got the thing with Shelley Duvall, of course, rest in peace. She had to do 127 takes of that one scene that drove her crazy. That Here's Johnny's scene. That took 3 days to shoot, and they went through 60 doors. Both actors left the shoot completely exhausted. We covered this movie way back when we were just young podcasters. I would actually suggest you don't listen to that because we didn't really know what we were doing back then. But if you're curious to see how horrible we used to be, or you want to see if we even come far at all, you can listen to that one. But I wouldn't recommend it.
Judge.
We'll have to revisit that one, as now that we know what we're doing, quote unquote, Mike. But it's a masterpiece now. I mean, it's just. It's the visuals. It's just astonishing. It's just one of those things that it's the ultimate horror movie now. But again, not well received. Just like us, Mike. You took
the words right out of my mouth. I was like, oh my gosh.
All right. So there you go. That's the Empire list. So Mike, if you're curious, here's the score. We dead nuts tie, Mike, 20-20.
How about that? Well, I feel better now. Like, there weren't a lot of slasher movies on there, so that's good.
Yeah. Just confirming the myth that we're peas in a pod. Like,
there's no Friday 13th or
no.
Surprised me a little bit.
So the highest ranking movie that you had not seen is the number 10 movie. That would be Wicker Man, and of course me not seeing The Thing at number 4. That makes me the loser, Mike. So, in the event of a tie, you have. You take the series, Mike, so congratulations.
Enjoy the moniker, Mr. Loser.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, that's going to kind of wrap up this show. We hope you enjoyed our take on it. So if you didn't, whatever. Just some housekeeping notes here, guys. If you want to find out anything more about the show, you can check us out on Instagram, where we're Grumpy Nostalgia. You can send us an email at nostalgiagrumps@gmail.com. Check out our newly designed website, that would be grumpynostalgia.buzzsprout.com. We actually put a little contributor section in there, little bios of me and Mike. If you want to find out how clever we are, you can see that. We've got some links to our favorite podcasts there, and we've got a new user interface, so just check that out. Remember, there's a send us a message link under the title of each new podcast. If you want to give your feedback to the show, we'd really like to hear from you from that. You can check out our YouTube. Please do. No one else does, not even us anymore.
Oh, no.
But that's still a thing. If you want to,
you can watch us. Wouldn't that be great? You could put a face to the voice. That'd be awesome.
To be fair, they're mostly just an icon of our show logo, and is the audio version. But there are 5 or 6 videos of us engaging, and you can see how the sausage is made.
You can see me looking down a lot.
You can invest in your V-chip after that. But there you go. Well, that's going to kind of wrap it up. So. We're going to hit a few more Halloween movies this month, guys. And just a special announcement. We talked about last year overdoing it a little bit. That's not entirely true. We really enjoyed last year's event, and to pay homage to that, every Saturday in October, we're going to be releasing a bonus episode. In addition to the 3 episodes we'll probably do this month, we're going to put 4 additional ones out in October. Every Saturday, you can go back and revisit those Halloween movies with our friends.
So much entertainment.
7 shows total in October.
Listen to all those scares, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I just want to thank everybody for their support. Last month was our second highest month ever in downloads. Again, we keep replacing the previous episode records, so we're getting a lot of growth, Mike. Somebody's actually listening to this stupid crap. We hope you guys all get the help that you so desperately need. But in the meantime, continue to listen. We appreciate it. Yeah.
While you're getting your therapy, please listen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can listen to us in the waiting room with your therapist. It's pretty perfect. All right, so Mike, that's going to kind of wrap it up for this show. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Yes, I was neglectful. This may take me longer than my usual outro here, but there's a line in this movie that reflects how me, as a YouTube watcher, watches media nowadays. And The line is from Barnard Hughes in the movie, and he says, "When you read the TV guide, you don't need a TV."
That was my outline.
Well, it just reflects our current YouTube culture, where there's so many shows and movies I've never seen, but I've watched plenty of reviews on them on YouTube, and it's kind of right nowadays, you know?
Yeah. Mike, I think we're spending entirely too much time together. We're thinking the same now. It's
I know, that's weird. I was like, wow.
Well, I will, if you vamp out in any way, I'll stake you without even thinking twice about it, buddy. So
all right,
that's going to kind of wrap it up, guys. So thank you for listening. So for Mike James, this is Justin, and we will see you again next time.
My own brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. Oh, you wait till Mom finds out, buddy.